nice day, so today we're outside, we're painting. And what you'll see is I have a black canvas ready, and on top of that black canvas I just put some phthalo green down up here and down here, phthalo blue in the middle and across, and some alizarin crimson mixed with some blue here and here. And today I'm going to be using a small canvas. I met a nice lady and she said that she wanted a painting, but she only has a small amount of space on her wall. So I'm going to be doing a small canvas today. And what we'll be doing is the Northern Lights. They're one of my most favorite things to paint. So I'm just going to go into some titanium white. And I'm going to start tapping in the kind of lines. It's very windy today, so I hope I don't lose my canvas. And what you'll see is the white is mixing with all those colors I laid down. So I'm getting a huge variety of colors, all the way from green to blue. And I'm just going to tap off my brush. You can do it on your easel. I do it on my painter's clothes, because I think it's going to be stylish one day. And I'm going to do another band of Northern Lights. Just gentle tapping. And let's do one more. I always like to do 3. No real reason why, that's just the way I've always done it. And then with a clean brush, you're going to clean fan brush. You're going to go up. You're just going to pick that up. Hold the light up. I love painting the Northern Lights. I think they're my most favorite thing to paint. I think the reason why I like to paint them so much is they're really easy, and the colors are just absolutely beautiful. And since I'm a Canadian and I'm living in Japan, Japanese people don't get to see the Northern Lights too often. They have to come to Canada or Russia or somewhere where they have the Northern Lights. And this is a great way for me to share something from my home with them. And then with a clean 2-inch brush, I'm just going to pull straight up. And this is your brightness control. You can make them as bright as you like by just pulling up. But you can't make them dimmer, so keep that in mind. Once you go light, you can't go back. And in this piece, I think I wanted to have some of them reflecting down in the water. So, because it's a reflection, you're going to try to mirror those curves that you did. And it doesn't have to be perfect by any means. All kinds of things are happening in the water. So there might be ripples and waves. And all these kinds of things are going to make it so that the reflection's not a perfect mirror image of your northern lights in the sky. And I think that's one of the great things about painting and drawing nature, is that it shouldn't be perfect. And I think that's what allows people to be able to paint landscapes very easily, because there's lots of room for imperfection. Now, because this is a reflection, if these lights are going up, these lights are going down. So I'm just going to pull them down. Just touching and pulling. And we can pull the color because we have liquid clear, which is really just a fancy word for linseed oil on the palette or on the canvas. So the canvas was prepared with black acrylic paint. You can use gesso, but I find it's expensive, and acrylic paint does just as well. And that was covered with a thin layer of linseed oil, liquid clear, and then that was covered in the different colors of paint you see here. And then just pull straight down. And since this is a reflection, you can also pull to the side. Okay. So there's the water, and that's the sky. The next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding a mountain. So I'm going to take some of my phthalo blue, some of my Prussian blue, some of my black, and the rest of my crimson. The exact proportions don't matter too much. Right now I'm just looking for dark paint. Something like that, something dark. I'm going to pull it straight down, like that, and then I'm going to make a little cut. So I have a small roll of paint right there on the knife. And I'm going to add my mountain. Now, one of my favorite things to do is to show the mountain is to make it obscure some of these lights. So I'm going to come up into my lights and just anything's pretty much okay. I think it's really nice that I can come outside on my day off, do a nice painting outside for everybody. The mountain, the top of the mountain is the only thing that you're really concerned with. And then I'm going to take my 2-inch brush and I'm going to pull the mountain down. One of the challenges of working with a small canvas, see, a lot of people think working with a big canvas might be hard because you have to fill up all that space, but it's actually a smaller canvas that's a little bit more tricky because you don't have as much space to maneuver around your painting. By pulling down like this, I'm doing a couple things. I'm laying out my mountain with brush strokes so I know where to put the highlights. And I'm removing excess paint. The more excess paint you can remove at this stage, the better. The better your snow is going to stick to your mountain. Clean my knife off. If you don't want to do this on your pants, you can bring some cloth. I have cloth always in my pocket, like these. But like I said, for me it's just easier to do it on my painter's pants. They're ruined anyway. And for my highlights, I like to use white. White sometimes with a little bit of blue, but I find on these black canvases, getting close to pure white as you can is almost more interesting. And there's going to be some of the color you picked up anyway from doing the Northern Lights in your white pile. That's more than enough white to get you going. And just touch it barely. You want the white paint on your brush to break. You really want that white paint to break and leave holes. Those holes are what gives your mountain its texture. Just a little bit on this guy back here. Something like that. Maybe there's even whole rock formation. And then for the shadows, I'm going to take some of that white, lay it down with a teeny tiny little bit of blue. The blue's really, really strong. And I'm just going to kind of marble it. Maybe a little bit more white. And then I'm going to go in the opposite direction and lay down all the shadows in this mountain. And it's going to pick up some of the color that was laid down. That's fine. In fact, that's a good thing. You want your colors to sort of mix and play together and have fun. You know, and it really is true that people will think you worked really, really hard to get these kinds of effects going on, and you really didn't do much at all. You just let the paint work for you. Fix this guy up a little bit. Come in front. Fix this up. I really like the way that was going before. Something like that. Some darker color. Then with a 2-inch brush, I'm just going to start tapping the bottom of the mountain out. This is going to do a couple different things for us as well. One, it's going to make the mountain look much better. Mountains are always much more distinct on the top of the mountain than they are on the bottom. So that's one thing. It's going to get rid of some of the heavy paint from our snow and our highlights, which means it'll be easier to paint on top of. And it's going to give us some softness. And then pick it up in the direction of the mountain. So when we laid down these highlights, we went this way, so I'm going to pick up in that direction. We laid down these ones going in this direction, so I'm going to pick up in that direction. And that's going to remove any of the brush strokes that we made. Maybe a little bit more tapping over here. I think I want this area just a little bit lighter. I think I want to put in some hills there. And you can always add a little bit of white. Next, I'm going to use my mountain color. To that, I'm just going to add on my brush some of the phthalo green. Run my fan brush through the paint, give it a wiggle maybe, give it a pull, and that's going to help make my brush sharp. And down here there's a little valley. I want some little trees in here. These ones are really, really far away, so they're just lines. They're just lines. If you find they're looking a little bit strange, you can add more. Maybe down here. And when you're painting, it's really important to see your painting. Take a little bit of a step back, see what's happening on your canvas, and find out how you can take advantage of that. As I'm laying down these little trees, I'm noticing it just so happens that I'm getting kind of close to my water. So I think what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to take some of these little trees and I'm going to try to reflect them into the water. And that's really, really easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I get some of them into the water. Just like that. And then I'm going to take my 2-inch brush, same way we made those first reflections, take them, I'm going to use a clean one, and take them and go straight down into the water. Just like that. If they're getting a little bit too light, you're not seeing them the way you want, you can always just add them again. You can just pull them in, just really gently. That's my problem sometimes. Sometimes I'm not gentle enough. And then to the side. Now we have a lot of dark on dark. Dark trees, dark water. And that doesn't play so nice. So I'm going to add some snow now. And it's just white. Just white with the fan brush. And where I have this sort of line where the trees are, I'm just going to start tapping. If I pick up too much of the excess paint underneath, I just touch and I get more. And I'm just adding white. All the colors that you see on the canvas, they're coming from the stuff that we added at the beginning. Then I'm going to take some of that white, pull straight down, put off a small roll of paint, and just paint in a little water line. You can tap the water line in too if you want. You can scrub it in side to side, or you can tap it in. It doesn't really matter. Whatever works for you. Something like that. Now what I think I want to include is just a few trees. So going back to my dark color, I think there's a big tree here, right here in with all this red. Touch, and then zigzag down. That. Maybe I gotta be really careful. It's quite windy today. When I was setting up, this canvas had actually fallen over a few times. So I gotta be really careful about that. See, I told you it was gonna happen. I told you. Just wait for the wind to die down. That's one problem with painting on the porch. We're outside and we are a little bit subject to the elements. Our first video, I heard a motorcycle go by. And I thought, oh no, there goes all my audio. But we can work with that. Let's just get our tree in over here. If you find like you're having a hard time getting it to stick, especially over that mountain, just use your knife and cut some of it off. You're not going to ruin anything. Cutting off some excess paint. Don't be afraid to do that. That wind again. And these are just little push down strokes. Excuse me a little bit, I'm going to get just a little bit, actually I think I'm okay. I was going to get a little bit more white paint, but I think I'm fine. To highlight these trees, I'm going to use the same phthalo blue, maybe a little bit more phthalo blue to the shadow color for our mountain. And I'm just a few different places going to add some highlight. very windy day. And one thing I've noticed is with these smaller canvases, they don't stay in the easel as well as the larger ones do. But that's okay. The larger canvases actually have a small crossbar, which is where I usually put my sticky tack. I use sticky tack to make sure my easel doesn't fall off. I find it usually works pretty good, except in such harsh conditions as these. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get just a little bit of more titanium white. I didn't quite get enough when I was setting up. Just a little bit more white. I'm going to use a new brush. I can use a 2-inch brush. You can clean your brushes, by the way. I'm just not cleaning them today, right now, because I haven't had to. I have a lot of brushes. And to my titanium white, I'm just adding some paint thinner to thin it down. If you ever find that your paint isn't sticking very well, you can add paint thinner, and that will help you out. And just down here, some trees. Some bushes. There we go. Those are trees. Waiting for the wind to stop. I should have checked the weather today, I think. The last thing to do is to add my signature. So that's bright red, and that's just bright red and some paint thinner. And let's sign this quickly. Thank you very much for watching today's painting. I hope it was as fun and enjoyable for you as it was for me. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.